Hey, this is attorney Elizabeth Potts Weinstein, and today we're going to talk about, is it okay to write down the credit card numbers of your clients and how to protect the credit card information that belongs to your clients. So what kind of credit card information am I talking about? Well, obviously we're talking about the credit card number, we're talking about the expiration date, we're talking about the CVV code, that 3 or 4 digit code that goes with the credit card number. But we're also talking about the name, the email address, the phone number, the mailing address, whatever other information you collect from your clients that goes with their account, that goes with their credit card information. All that information is going to be protected in a number of different ways. First, any personally identifying information, PII, is protected by the law of where you're located and the law of where they're located. So what the rules are really depends upon the location, obviously, but generally speaking, you're going to need to disclose to them how you secure their personally identifiable information, how you secure their PII. Maybe in your privacy policy, they're going to be agreeing to what those terms are in your privacy policy. You're going to think about how you're keeping that secure. The other aspect is the credit card information itself, the number, the expiration date, the CVV code. That falls under PCI DSS, the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, that has very specific rules for what you have to do to protect your client's credit card information, whether it is digital or whether you're just gathering it in another way. So you have a duty to keep that credit card information and all that PII. So you have to keep it secret, you have to keep it secure, you have to keep it safe. So how do you do that really depends upon how you're collecting the data and what you're doing with it. So if you collect data from your clients, the credit card data, in person where they write it on a piece of paper, or you collect it over the phone and you write it on a piece of paper, you have to keep those pieces of paper secure. So how are you going to do that? It could be a locked file cabinet where it's restricted who has access to that file cabinet, and you even have security over who has access to the room where the file cabinet is. One thing to remember is that if credit card information is just written on a piece of paper, there's no encryption, there's no secretness to it. As soon as someone gets access to that paper, they have the credit card information. So you want to think about, does that make sense as a strategy for you to keep that data secret since it's easy to use once someone gets access to it? The other way to keep it secret is to use some kind of electronic system that is secured and where the data is encrypted. If you don't know what encryption is, what it means is that they take that data and they use algorithms to hash it, to make it into a code that you have to use that exact algorithm to get back to the credit card information. So if someone finds that database that has all the credit card information, if they are amazingly able to hack in, all they get is a bunch of random stuff. They don't actually get the codes, and they'd have to have that algorithm with the key to the algorithm to get back to the codes. An aspect of electronic information is that many businesses, if they're talking to clients and doing sales on the phone, they record those conversations, including the credit card information. On one hand, that can be very helpful to prove that someone agreed to make that payment. It can be helpful to go back and make sure you got the credit card info right. On the other hand, you now have an electronic recording with credit card information. Who has access to that recording? Are you keeping that recording encrypted? So you need to look into not just wherever the credit card is written down, but also any recordings of calls or recordings of videos where credit card information has been given. So what's the best practice to use when you get credit card information from your clients? The best thing to do is for you to not have any of it, okay? That is going to simplify your life and simplify your business. So what do? You use a merchant provider. That's the company that actually processes the credit card numbers, who takes care of the whole thing. So if people are buying from your website, you would already have that set up. It could be Stripe, it could be Square, it could be PayPal. There's tons of other ones too. And that's the system where your client themselves, your customer themselves, actually types in their credit card number, and you can completely stay out of it. But what if you make your sales via the telephone? Well, obviously you could just have them type it in, but sometimes that isn't part of the flow of your sales process. What you can do instead is you can have a back-end system with many merchant processors where you type it in, but you don't write it down anywhere. Okay, so for a second, it's in your brain. Okay, you do have access to the credit card information for that minute while you're typing it into the system. But then once it processes, you no longer have access to the credit card information. Now, if you have people who are signing up for installment payments or a subscription plan, most merchant processors can handle that for you. So you don't need to keep running the credit card fresh each month. I see this happen a lot. It also creates a problem with collections. It is much better to have a system that's automated, where the subscriptions happen each month and no one has to type things back in again. You might type in the number wrong, and you have to keep that number all written on some piece of paper, and you have this huge problem where it won't run automatically and people aren't expecting that charge. But if you have that system automated using Stripe, for example, then if people's credit cards don't work or they need to change a credit card, they can actually do it themselves. Again, this is attorney Elizabeth Potts-Weinstein. If you found this video helpful, hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you like any more legal tips for small business owners and entrepreneurs. And of course, leave a comment below if you have any questions about what we talked about today, and I'll try to point you in the right direction. Thanks a lot for watching.